Right, so I'm pleased to say that we've now compacted the whole area, so we can now move on to the next stage, which is laying our patio, which I'm really excited to do. A little bit nervous at the same time because I want to make sure that it is right. As I said, I haven't compacted around this area yet because we have the manhole cover, so this is going to be the last section that I do. Reason being is because I want to make sure that we get the level and the height just right. So we're doing is starting in this corner, making sure that we've got our square. I did square it off before I started it, and I put a steel brace in place to hold it in, so it should still remain straight after the compacting. We've also got some slurry as well, so we're going to get the slurry prepped. Because we're using very porous tiles, we want to make sure that we get a good bond and that they don't start bleeding through basically. Right, so just checking the levels. So I've checked the first level, checked the second level, and we're all good. So we want this level to be slightly raised. We don't want it to be bang on central. We want it just touching the left hand bar. That shows that we've got a 2 centimeter slope going on, which is what we want continuous all the way up to the wall, so that water doesn't collect. So just making sure that all the level is around about the same. So I'm just going to continue on up there as well, make sure that we've got exactly the same process going on, and that it's building up to the height that we need it. So I'm just going to fill in where it is a bit shallow, and then we'll give it another compact again. A lot of times people get this a bit backwards, but the widest side of the slab needs to be at the top, so the slope goes down inwards. And also, because they vary in size as well, and we've got a front facing, so this section is going to be visible. You want to make sure that you get not only the smoothest one cut, but also that they're roughly the same thickness as well, just to give it a bit of design. Well, not design, but make sure it looks better. You don't want one that's at 1.5 mil thickness and then one at 2.8. It's just not going to look right, and it's not going to sit right either. So what you're seeing here is wrong, and there's going to be a lot of builders or people in the trade who might see this video and think, what on earth is going on? And now that I'm looking back at this video a number of years later, I'm mortified. But effectively, this mix is far too dry, so there should have been more cement in it, and it should be much more wetter. You want like a porridge type mix, like a thick oat porridge mix, but here, as you can see, way too dry. So essentially I end up having to redo the first 3 slabs because I realized it just wasn't right. And this is actually the first cementing job that I'd ever done, so I've done this way before. I did the outbuilding, things like that, but yeah, it was completely wrong, so I had to do it, and it worked out fine in the end. Luckily, I was able to break down this mixture and redo it without causing too much of an issue, so we're all good in the end. But if you're seeing this, do it much wetter, a bit more cement. You want a more of a 3 to 1 or 3 to 2 mix, so 3 parts sand, 2 or 1 part cement, but I used about 1.5 in the end, just to make sure I got a good bond. And then I used the slurry, which you can see in that orange bucket in front of you. If you're enjoying these types of videos, please consider liking and also subscribing. What I aim to do is kind of help other DIYers on the journeys and also point out mistakes and errors that I make to prevent other people from making these same mistakes. Right guys, so we are now going to cut the slabs to go in these corners, and what I'm going to do is show you how to cut almost a semicircle to cut around this pipe section here. So we'll get our measurements and then I'll show you how to do it with a straight blade. The gaps that we've got are about 1.5 centimeters, so you usually want between 10mm and 20mm, so we've got about 15mm. So we want a 15mm gap here. But we also want this to be right up against the wall because this is where it meets this timber here, so take that into consideration. So we need to cut 22cm slabs to slot into those sections there. So we want to cut around here, so we're going to line it up with our first slab so we can get our levels in. Just going to draw a quick line, doesn't have to be tidy, just so we know where the pipe is. And that's the area we're looking for. Right, so the pipe comes out 11 centimeters. So this is our line here, and the center point of the pipe is here. So this is where we're going to start curving it around. So just draw a rough curve around. Obviously we're doing it in pencil. Right, so we know where we need to cut. So I'm going to cut a couple of mil wider than this gap here, so it's not too tight against the pipe. So probably add about 2mm on there, and then what we're going to do is we're basically going to keep cutting up, and then we're going to keep cutting straight down the middle until we get to our curve point, and then we can break off the slab here, and that should give us our curve, he says. Let's give it a try. Yeah, pretty happy with that. That's cool. Right, that's all done, so we can start cementing these bits in. Awesome. Done.